If you know anything about the state of DMC fans, especially in the year of our Lord 2026, you know that DMC 6 is a fever dream that will never come true. But that doesn't stop Devil May Cry fans from being totally delusional. And I'm getting that delusion out of my system by drawing my own fan designs for what I think characters could look like in a hypothetical future game. I am starting with Trish, because she's the GOAT, and because her design changes the least across the series. She almost always looks the exact same with the black corset, black pants, black corset, black pants, black corset, black pants. Oh, look, corset's shorter this time. So I want to shake things up a little, if only for my emotional fulfillment, because I like Trish. Disclaimer, I am an artist and I do work for clients as a side gig, but I am not a professional character designer. I understand a lot of design principles, but I am working from the perspective of an amateur and a fan in this instance, in this context. The way I started was by getting this reference material together, and then I started sketching over it. And here I'm just getting a sense of her proportions and her body language so I can stay true to that in my own sketch here. And in doing this, I found out that she has a very pronounced hourglass figure, which you can tell with your eyes. And interestingly, in her most stylized designs, the ones that I'm referring to and the ones that I want to take inspiration from, her legs are twice as long as her torso before we count the feet. So very long limbed. Her arms are also very long and very slender. So that is something that I'm definitely going to have to make sure that I emphasize and that I pay close attention to. And you will also notice that Sparta's here. He's here for moral support. I will explain later why he's important to this design project. As I start sketching the body, this one actually comes together pretty quickly, especially for my figure drawings, but you can see that I tend to like to draw my figures a little bit more robust, a little bit more muscular, just by instinct. So I went back, made a concerted effort to slim her down to match her canonical body type. With this piece, I was trying to really keep in mind that Trish isn't just a devil hunter. She is also this very beautiful and elegant being. We can see her being kind of aloof. That's kind of her attitude in DMC4. So we also have to consider fashion. That's something that I am not very experienced with. Not pictured here is all the Google searches I did for what's in right now. So that's why this first design deviates quite a bit from her canonical appearances. Although she always wears skin-tight pants, I tried some looser fitting fare here. It changes her silhouette, but I think loose or straight fit pants are more fashionable at this moment in time, so I wanted to give it a shot. For her top, she normally shows off her midriff. Again, talking about the corset, that's pretty normal. But again, I wanted to try to take inspiration from what is currently stylish, and so one thing that I have seen online is bodysuits. And I have seen influencers who are kind of sporty and fit wear these bodysuits that are truly the swimsuit of the land. So to me, it evokes kind of a fashionable and athletic vibe, and it still shows off some skin around the hips there. In the games, for some reason, Trish normally wears one bracer or vambrace type thing on her arm. Not entirely sure why. I don't remember off the top of my head right now if I've seen her use that for anything. In this first design, I tried turning that into a pair of long, elegant gloves. Not super modern, and there are downsides to gloves, which I'll get into with my next designs. And then I started on some gun holsters. Trish's iconic weapons have typically been loose Umbra and the Devil Sword Sparta. The latter does not exist anymore, so the pistols are kind of her only thing at present. So I knew right off the bat that I wanted her holsters to be an obvious part of my design for her. I decided to try these underarm holsters for the first design. It helps break up a lot of this big, uninterrupted skin tone on her upper body, and I think underarm holsters look cool, so I did. And for her shoes, high heels, obviously. And in this design, you can't see much of them because of the trousers here, so I'll continue to iterate and fiddle with them as I go, and we'll talk more about that later. Water break. The doctor says I have to drink 80 ounces of water in a day. I'm about to hit 75. That's a new personal best. I don't know why I did that in an accent. I put vitamins in it and it tastes nasty. All right, for the second outfit sketch, this is a lot of me bringing things back into line with her canonical appearances so far. So for the gun holsters, get rid of the underarm ones, and I hung them from her belt. Pretty standard arrangement. Her double belt buckles from her in-game designs already look kind of like pieces of hip holsters. And to go along with that, tightened up her pants. And we're coming back to those shoes. I feel like her boots a lot of the time really blend into her clothes and turns into this huge block of just black. So I thought it would be cool to give them a little more texture, a little more definition, partly because I like drawing boots. And I thought it'd be cool to have these tall lace-up boots, and the lace pattern could match the shape and texture of the corset, which also is going to have a laced-up pattern. So I thought that might look good together. Speaking of which, I changed the bodysuit back into a corset for this one, with that lightning bolt design. But I decided I kind of got sick of the lightning bolt design because, you see a lot of her designs do slightly different things. I feel like the old anime really did something different, but I decided to try this symmetrical, jagged design that still evokes a lightning bolt, but it also, since it's symmetrical like that, it makes me think almost like the scaly belly of some of the demon enemies, like Furies, which then sort of reminds me of the scale-like texture that you see in Virgil's older costumes. So I don't think that's a bad idea. I thought it was kind of fun. I think it looks kind of good. And finally, instead of gloves, I tried bracelets on her this time. The game character designers and I seem to be in agreement that her arms should not be bare. They look too blank. We need something. She needs some kind of accessorization. I'm not sure what kind of bracelets she would wear, though. Trophies from enemies she's killed? That seems too much. Some of Eva's old jewelry. I don't feel like I've explored that sort of accessorization enough, honestly, with my designs today, so maybe I'll have to come back to that at some point. And now I'm going back and I'm debaldifying my designs. She always has her hair down, kind of long and loose. Normally in the middle part, though in DMC4, she seems to have it slicked back. So this time I started with that pretty standard, that middle part, with these big swoopy shapes. But then, on my second go, which is normally my very conventional design, I tried this gigantic ponytail. I like how it emphasizes how tall she is. Seriously, she's got to be 6'5" or something. And I feel like it just emphasizes the straight lines of her form, so that was kind of fun. And I gave her these curtain bangs to go with it, because most of her designs do keep some of her hair to frame her face. The third and final preliminary design I tried. To start with, I changed the pants again back to the skinny pants. I decided that, she has these long, elegant legs, and they're a really iconic part of her silhouette. Yeah, she's very leggy. We kind of have to keep them. It feels weird to obscure their shape in any way, as it turns out. And I tried shorter boots this time, and I have gone in and added tips to these boots. I like the idea of giving her metal-tipped boots. They always make me think of Majima from Yakuza, but since she is a great hand-to-hand fighter and she uses her body and brute force, I like the idea of giving her more stomping and stabbing implements on her feet. And it's a way to put a shiny or colorful little pop there amid the very dark colors of her lower body. So I like that idea as well. This time I went for short fingerless gloves, kind of like what both Dante and Virgil wear a lot of the time. I don't want to cover up her fingertips. This is the problem with gloves, because I want her to be able to decorate her nails, because I think in many of her designs she does have painted nails or otherwise decorated nails. And again, fashion's important. It's at least as important as practicality in this particular character's case. For her top, this corset, I tried a different shape from the other tops. It also features straps, breaking up that skin tone again. For the gun holsters, you see me go back to the second design here to make the holsters look more like some that I found online that I thought looked kind of cool. And then I give her holsters strapped to her legs in my third design here. I like breaking up the long, solid black line of the legs with these horizontal straps, because while the shape of the legs is iconic, I don't like how plain her lower half looks. She's mostly legs, and her legs are so boring. I also mirrored that shape with the strap across her chest, kind of like what Dante wears in DMC3. In my mind, if she ever gets her hands on other weapons, she could carry them on her back using a strap like this. And now I go in and I fill in all the designs with plain gray. This is so I can more easily see what the silhouettes will look like, depending on what outfit elements I want to keep or leave. After I took a good long look at my 3 preliminary designs, I vibed out what I liked or didn't like. Ideally, I would take these to someone else if I was doing an actual character design and ask for feedback and iterate some more, but this time I just took a look at them, decided what vibes I liked, and moved straight on to the final design. I started with the second design because I knew I wanted to keep the ponytail, the tight pants, these tall boots, and the symmetrical top. And then I made some changes based on what I liked best in the other designs, including turning the top back into a bodysuit. I got pretty attached to that right away. And I replaced the belt holsters with the thigh holsters. I'm gonna miss the underarm holsters, but I think that these ones look best. Again, it's all in the legs. This slightly breaks up the slender shape of the legs, but it does still keep the form clear and elegant, so I feel justified. And then I changed the shape of the top of the bodysuit to look flatter because I realized that I actually have a lot of horizontal lines in this design now between the lightning bolts and the thigh holsters, so I wanted to get rid of some of these curved shapes and make her very straight lines. And then finally, of course, I brought back the fingerless gloves. I talked about why I like those. And I think that maybe if she did start wearing gloves, they could have reinforced knuckles for her bare-fisted brawling style that she engages in. As I start refining the design, I messed with these tall boots quite a bit. I brought back the metal tips. Talked about why I like those too. I briefly tried a lightning bolt shape across the laced area. I think it's called a tongue. Is that the thing inside of a shoe? The tongue of the shoe? I'm gonna look it up. Parts of a shoe. It's called a tongue. I was right. Okay. Yeah. I was considering making that bit kind of lightning bolt shaped, but I decided pretty quickly that it looked way too superhero-y for my goals today and scrapped it. And then I laid in some basic values, and this lets me sort of check the overall composition, what I'm looking at. It's also kind of out of habit because lately I've been starting a lot of my paintings with just the grayscale values. So just autopilot, I guess. And the final touch for this step, I put a little scrunchy thing in her hair. This also has to do with Sparta. We will get to him in a second. For the color palette, I of course based my colors on the colors Trish always has. If you've seen my art, then you'll quickly notice that I like vibrant colors, so I adjusted a lot of the colors to be more in line with my comfort zone. For a little bit, I looked real close at the color wheel to try to pick a palette based on actual color theory, but I quickly gave up on that. I think I have like 2/3 of a triadic palette, which is, I don't know if that's a thing actually. Dyadic, I don't know if dyadic is a thing. When it comes to palette choices, I usually prefer to use symbolism or color psychology rather than color theory, and I am aware that that is a personal problem. Speaking of personal problems, you will also quickly notice that the pistols look half-baked, if we're being generous to me. I have a lot less fun with weapon and prop design than with character design, so I was really leaving that by the wayside for this project. The weapons in DMC all have pretty iconic looks, but they do change slightly from game to game. So for today, just picture whatever your favorite version of Lucent Umbra happens to be. And this is also a good step to try to use my color and shading choices to define the materials the outfit is made out of, which is a weakness in my paintings a lot of the time. But I did decide to make parts of the outfit iridescent like vinyl, specifically the pants and the front panels of the bodysuit. And that allows me to introduce additional color variation, bringing out more blues and violets, which is very, very important to my ideas for this design. So, let me finally explain our guest. Why, oh why, is Sparta's human form still over there in the corner? Well, Trish is Sparta's spiritual successor in Devil May Cry. It's one of the most important parts of her character, and it's why I would like to see more of her in the future. You know, Sparta, he was sort of the original demon who chose humanity, betrayed Mundus. And then DMC1, Trish meets Dante, chooses humanity, betrays Mundus. So she sort of is Sparta's agency and philosophy manifesting in the next generation, so to speak. And she also inherits a lot of his weapons, and that's part of, she chose the same path that he did, and that's how, she almost becomes like a joint heir alongside Dante and Virgil of Sparta. So I wanted him here, at least for moral support, right? At least for moral support. No, but I wanted to take some inspiration from his overall look when carrying out my fan design here, and to make her more of a reflection of him. So you can see that he's very stately, extravagant, and gothic in ways that Trish is not. So I'm trying to introduce little hints of that. So it's mostly the Trish we all know and love, but with a little bit more influence from this aesthetic. Firstly, the shoes. I've already mentioned the metal tips. That's not something that Sparta sports, but he does have a little shiny pop right there. I think that's lace. We'll get to lace. That was actually part of my inspiration for, I was like, yeah, I can put something on her shoes. And yeah, I did put lace. I did put lace in her outfit. This man clearly liked his lace. Lace is something that's associated with wealth, delicateness, and refinement, especially in ye olden times. It took so long to make, and it's so easy to damage. So it does have that association. It's like, it's very refined and very precious in a way. So I like the contrast between that vibe and the sheer brute force that Trish can use in a fight. So I poked some holes in the hairpiece to make it look more like lace, and I do something similar to the choker later on to make it look like a goth lace choker. Speaking of her choker, I added a jewel to it. I chose blue to match her eyes. It's inspired by the jewels that Sparta wears, since he's wearing jewels on his shoes and on his necklace. And I like being able to add little details where I can add more colors. I like painting little gems. Color-wise, I think red could work too, and it would match her lips. It might be a nice color pop, especially because my design here is very overwhelmed by cold colors. Once you factor in that my black here is actually a very dark desaturated purple. But I don't want it to look too much like Eva's amulet, since she had the red jewel, and then the brothers each had the halves, which were red jewels. And with that being such an important artifact to the series, I don't want to make it look too much like that. And I also, speaking of the colors, made those clothes purple and blue, and that's why I chose the iridescence as well, so I could bring out more of that purple and blue, like I mentioned before, because that's very dominant in Sparta's human forms outfit here. And finally, at the very end, and this might be a bit of a subtle touch, but you do see me add a damask pattern to the more matte cloth parts of Trish's top. You can see these thick, swirly, embroidered patterns throughout Sparta's clothing. Another detail that looks very aristocratic and elegant. I think that some of Trish's designs feature textures like this, specifically DMC4, because it's hard to miss with DMC4. But for the most part, relatively plain and textureless cloth for her. So I wanted to move away from that and put this damask embroidery on her top. DMC has a constant fusion of like very modern alternative fashion with old styles. I'm talking like Victorian old. So having a bodysuit with damask on it, I feel like is very much in line with that aesthetic tradition. Another water break. While I finish painting her, I want to throw in a couple of my hopes and ideas of what we could see from Trish in the future, if there is a future. We definitely need more of her. She should not be promoted to like main character status by any means, since Nero and the brothers are all alive and doing their thing. But I do want to see her take a more active role than what the story of 5 allowed. Specifically, I want her back as a playable character, either in a special edition or, if our corporate overlords are generous, at release. That's impossible. That's not going to happen. So in a special edition, please. I really love playing her in DMC4 Special Edition, and I want to see her moveset get a chance to evolve. DMC5 did a great job of really developing on Nero, Dante, and Virgil mechanically, and I think it would be cool to see her get a similar treatment. Without the Sparta, the Devil's Sword Sparta, I should say, she's down a melee moveset, and I do want to see her bare-knuckled style given plenty of love, but I also want to see new weapons in the absence of the DSS. Perhaps Nero and Nico have helped make weapons that can withstand her demonic strength, like they did for Nero, filling out her arsenal that way. I think it'd be really cool to see her with like an intricate, teched-up scythe, given parts of the Sparta's moveset. Again, I'm not doing weapon designs today. I'm just picturing it in my head, and it looks really pretty, so you're going to have to do the same. The other big idea that I had is improvised weaponry. She's very physically powerful, and weaponizing items from her environment or even other enemies would be a type of interactivity that the DMC series hasn't fiddled with yet. Think of, in Yakuza mentioned twice in this video for some reason, Kiryu can pick up bikes and traffic cones and things and slam them into people, except it's Trish, like ripping the jaw off of something and killing something else with it. I don't know. Like, I think that could be very, very metal and very unique as well. In terms of story, she is a really important supporting character, so I want to see her making active efforts to help main characters with their goals. In DMC1, she declared herself Dante's sidekick, so I can't imagine she's content to leave him, her first friend, in the demon world, so maybe she's trying to find a way to get back down there and help him get out. Going along with that, I'd like to see what she thinks of Virgil, who's now alive, following her interactions with V and Nero. Like, does she have complicated feelings? Does she want to help Dante but not feel so great about his twin? Or is she ready to help someone else follow the same path she did and come back to humanity, essentially? Like, that could be interesting thematically because she's the one who did it. Alternatively, maybe she's helping Nero and Nico in the human world and focusing on the Devil May Cry business. Without Dante, there's plenty of work to be done in that regard. I'd rather see Lady helping in that capacity, personally, but I can also see Trish being a mentor figure to the human world side of characters right now. And this is the final drawing. Like I said, it's not a finished illustration. It's just a bit of a sketch. Let me know what you think, though, of my design, and comment what you want to see Capcom do with Trish in the future, if there is a future. I definitely want to do more fan designs for other major characters, and I have some pretty out there ideas in mind for some of them already. So give me any feedback that you might have on any aspect of this video, and let me know if there's any specific character that you think I should prioritize doing next. And now I'm probably going to have to go drink more water. You might have been able to hear it in my voice, but I'm coming off of some combination of asthma and Zeus striking me down. So I've been trying not to sniffle or cough into the mic. And I'm going to have to go sniffle and cough in a corner over there where you can't hear me. So bye.